Hey guys, it's Linh. Today I'm going to talk about job hunting in Japan and everything you need to know about the recruitment process of Japanese companies. First, I will give you some general facts like what Japanese companies are looking for, the general recruiting schedule, and how to dress when you're looking for a job in Japan. Then I will explain the recruitment process in detail. At the end, I'll give you some tips that were really helpful for me when I was looking for a job. Because the majority of Japanese students have to go through this process, if you want to find a job this way, you have to be able to speak Japanese. Your Japanese level should be at least N2. Job searching in Japan is really tiring and stressful, so to be honest, I really don't want to do it again. It's also quite complicated, but I'll try my best to give an explanation that is as simple as possible. If you have any question or anything that you don't understand, feel free to ask me down below. Before we start, please understand that there may be changes all the time, so what I'm going to explain today may not be fully applicable to your situation, so make sure that you check with other sources as well. Okay, let's start! As I mentioned before, the kind of job hunting that I'm going to explain today is the process that the majority of Japanese students have to go through when they're looking for their first job. It is referred to as Shushokukatsudo and is often shortened as Shukatsu. Shushoku means looking for a job and Katsudo means activity. So if a Japanese student tells you that they are doing Shukatsu, it means that they are going to graduate soon and they are looking for a job. Also, the whole recruitment process is known as Shinsotsu Sayo. Shin means new, Sotsu means graduate, and Sayo means recruiting. So basically, Shinsotsu Sayo means recruiting fresh graduates. Job hunting in Japan is very different from many other countries, so I'm going to point out the most obvious differences for you. First of all, Japanese companies are more interested in the applicant's personality and communication skill rather than their ability to work. In fact, they don't even expect fresh graduates to be useful right away. Instead, they are more likely to take someone who they believe will fit the company's culture and can get along well with other employees. So after the fresh graduate join the company will teach them everything they need to know and they will train them from the start. This is known as potential recruitment or personality recruitment. To understand why Japanese companies do this, you also need to understand the lifetime employment system in Japan. I heard that in the past, companies actually expect these new employees to stay employed for their whole life. Just for your information, when fresh graduates join the company, normally there will be a seisha-in, which means permanent employee whose contract has no ending date. With this kind of contract, normally they can receive bonus once or twice a year, and the amount they receive each time is around 1 to 2 months of their monthly salary. They also can get more benefits than other types of employee, so it is much more stable to be a seisha-in, and that is why people normally don't quit their job when they are seisha-in. In the past, it was common for people to work for only one company for their whole life. However, this is changing now. I heard that recently 1/3 of the fresh graduates quit their job within 3 years after joining the companies. The second thing that makes job hunting in Japan so different from other countries is that your GPA, your performance in school, and even your major do not matter that much. You can look for a job in any industry even though it does not relate to what you learn in school. For example, someone who studied business in university can still get into an IT company and become a programmer. The reason for this is obviously because Japanese companies look for personality and potential more than real ability to work. As I mentioned before, they will teach the employees everything from the start. However, because of this, I feel like some Japanese students in my university before, they didn't really care about what they were studying or the classes that they were taking compared to other students from other countries. The third point that I think is also a bit special is that the school that you're studying at may give you a certain advantage when you're applying for a job. For example, if company A recruited a lot of employees from University B in the past, they may continue to give more offers to students from University B. I was taking a class about job hunting before when I was still in university. My teacher explained that the reason for this is because Japanese companies really care about the human relationship at work. They believe that the students from the same school with their employees may share the same cultures and can get along well better with those employees than students coming from other schools. The last difference is that if you follow the traditional way of job hunting, it's likely that you cannot apply for a specific job. Most of the time, you just apply to the company, and after you join, you will be assigned to a certain job or department depending on the need of the company. Even though company asks for your preference all the time, it's not rare to be assigned to a job that you don't like or to be sent to a city that you don't want to live in. Also, students are normally divided into two groups, Rike or Bunke. Rike means science-oriented and refers to students who study mathematics, biology, science, chemistry, and so on. Bunke is literature-oriented and normally it refers to students who study media, art, or business, and so on. Rike students are likely to become engineer and will be given science-related jobs. Bunke students normally get office job or sales job. In Japan, most companies hire a batch of new graduates at the same time. It's a bit complicated, so let's say you're a student who got into university in April 2015 and you're going to graduate in March 2019. To be able to start working in April 2019, you'll have to start preparing as soon as around June 2017 when you're still in your third year of university. During this period, you're expected to do internships, self-analysis, and lots of research, which I'll explain in detail later in this video. The job hunting season officially starts in March, and that is when students start to apply to companies, and normally they have to get a job before they graduate. Every year during job hunting season, you'll see a lot of Japanese in black suits, and there's a high chance that there are students who are looking for a job. This black suit is known as recruit suit and it's really simple and plain. Let me show you my recruit suit. As you can see, I have to wear a white shirt inside, and for girls it's quite common to have the collar pointing out like this. I'll turn around to show you how it looks like at the back too. As I said, it's black and super simple. Also, the skirt has to be long enough to cover my knee. Together with the outfit, you have to use this kind of bag that can carry A4 documents. It has to be black and have rectangle shape. The bottom part has to be like this so that the bag can stand by itself. Because during job hunting, most of the times you have to place them on the floor next to where you're standing or sitting. There are lots of space inside as well because you will receive a lot of documents from companies. During my job hunting, I always carried something like this around with me so that I could brush off any dust on my suit. Girls should tie all of their hair up, and I use this brace wax to prevent any short hair from sticking out. I also had to use a black pair of shoes like this. It should be comfortable enough to walk in for a long period of time, so the heel should only be around 3 to 5 centimeters. It is compulsory to wear ties as well. Step 1 is preparation. This can be around from June to March. During this period, students are expected to do jikobunseiki, which means self-analysis, to understand more about themselves, who they are, what they want to do in the future, their achievement, their weakness and strengths, and so on. When you do this, you have to look at your life since you were small until now and see what you have achieved so far, what were your failures, what you have learned in the past, and make it a logical process and make a story out of it. Students also have to do Gyokai Bunseki, which is industry research, and Kikyo Bunseki, which is company research. They have to learn about a lot of industry and companies to find out which one they are interested in and want to apply for. In Japan, there are a lot of books that fill with information of different companies like this Shusoku Shikiho. In this book, you can find information of each company, like how much salary they pay, their sales, how many people they employed in recent years, and so on. You can also check for information on the websites that support job huntings, and the two biggest websites are Rikunabi and Mynabi. In Japan, every student wants to get into a good company, so they really care about all of these stuff. Many people also tend to choose to apply for the companies that make the products that they like or they use often. For example, someone who likes eating may apply for a food manufacturing company. After all this research, students should start preparing for their resume. I heard it's also recommended to do some internship in advance. By internship, I didn't mean the kind of internship that has to last for several months. In fact, in Japan, you can apply for internship that is for a short period of time, like 1 day or 1 week. Step 2 is attending a setsumekai, which is an information session. During this information session, the staff of the company actually talk more about the company, products or service, their belief and mission, rather than the job content itself. There are 4 types of setsumekai. The first one is gakunai seminar. This is when a company goes to a specific school to carry out the recruiting activities and to explain about their company. The second type is godo setsumekai or job fair. In a big space, there are a lot of booths and hundreds or even thousands of students come to this event. Then they will go to each booth and learn about different companies. Each company will normally spend 15 to 30 minutes to talk about their company. The third one is Kaisa Setsumekai, which is an information session carried out by the company themselves. The duration is normally from 1 to 3 hours. This is normally held at a company or a rental space nearby. Normally, after students participate in Godo Setsumekai or Gakunai seminar, they still have to participate in this Kaisa Setsumekai to know more about the companies. Sometimes this Kaisa Setsumekai is combined with the first round selection as well. The last one is web seminar or online seminar. This is for people who cannot come to the Kaisa Setsumekai. Step 3 is submitting resume, which is known as Didekisho or Entry Sheeto. You can fill out a general form or a specific form made by your university or by the company. Please be aware that Japanese CV has a different templates from many other countries. Now let's look at a sample to see what you have to include. This is the most general form, and Japanese CV can be very personal. You have to write your name, attach a photo, write your address, phone number, academic background or employment history, any license or certificate you have, how long it takes you to commute, whether you are married or not, or if you have anyone you have to support financially. There's also a space for writing something to promote yourself and a space to express your expectation like your desired payment, work location, and so on. However, I think in Japan people don't normally write any demand in this space and just write they are fine with whatever the company offers. This is a picture of my old CV, and I used the format made by my university, so it had more questions. I had to write about stuff like my achievement, failure, my hobby, my strengths, and so on. And yes, in Japan it's common to handwrite resume, which really drove me crazy because if I made a mistake, I would mess up the whole thing. Step 4 is taking web test, aptitude test, or Hiki scan, which means writing tests. Many companies use this to select applicants in the first round. There are 3 ways to do this. 1. The company sends you a link and you can do it online at home when you have time. 2. You have to go to a web center and do it. 3. You have to go to the company and do it, normally after listening to the company's information session. The test may include mathematics question, logic test, a short reading test, English test, or essays. The time is always limited, so it's definitely not easy. Sometimes you have to do personality tests as well. The more questions you can solve and the more correct answers you have, the higher your score will be. Many companies believe that people with higher score will perform better at work. There are always a lot of people apply to a company, so companies use this as a way to reduce the number of applicants. In that case, if you fail the test, you will not be able to get an interview. Meanwhile, there are companies that require this test as a reference only, and even if you don't have a high score, you can still get to the next round. The most popular aptitude test in Japan is SPI. You can actually buy books or take a course to study for it in advance. I actually didn't like this and I didn't want to study for it, so I mainly applied for companies that didn't require me to take this test. Step 5 is taking interview. There are normally 2 to 3 rounds of interviews before you can get the final offer. The first round is the lowest level and students are normally interviewed by HR or by employees whose job is related to the job that those students are interested in. In the second round, students are likely to be interviewed by someone from a higher level, for example, the head of a department. In the last round, students will be interviewed by yakuin, which I don't know how to translate to English, but they are the top employees of every company. However, prior to the start of every recruiting season, every company has a goal in mind. For example, if a company wants to hire 50 new employees, and if it's nearly the end of the season already and they haven't been able to recruit this number, they may become flexible and shorten the process to only 1 to 2 rounds of interviews. There are 4 types of interviews: group discussion, group interview, individual interview, and online interview. For group discussion, you will be divided into different groups and you will be given a topic to discuss about and present it to the interviewer. For group interview, you will sit next to other applicants and the interviewer will ask everyone the same question. Each person has to answer it when it's their turn. Meanwhile, for individual interviews, you are the only applicant in the room and there may be 1 or more interviewers asking you questions. Online interview can be a phone call or a call on Skype, or you may have to log in the company's website where they will show you the interview questions and you have to record your answers right away. The first round and second round are normally group discussion or group interviews. From the third round is likely to be individual interview. Questions they ask are normally introduce yourself in 30 seconds or 1 minute. What is your strength? What is your weakness? What have you achieved so far? Have you ever experienced failure in your life? What is your dream? Why do you want to apply for this company and not other companies? Or they may also ask how many companies you are applying, what kind of companies you are applying to, and maybe also list the name of those companies. For foreigners, they also ask questions like, why and when did you come to Japan? How long are you planning to stay in Japan? Why do you want to work in Japan and in Japanese companies? Step 6 is receiving an offer through a phone call or an email. And this is also the last step. After you pass everything, you will receive a 990, which is an informal offer of employment. And it will lead to the 90 later, which is the official offer of employment. Even though 990 is only an informal offer, it is as important as the official one. You know that you have already secured a job. As I mentioned before, I will give you some tips that were helpful for me when I was looking for a job. I will divide this into 2 parts: what you can do before interviews and after interviews. First, before taking an interview, you should analyze the company well. Try to think of what they need and what they are looking for, and try to look for the information that not many people know so that you can stand out from other applicants. Try to look at their website or read news related to the industry or the company. After that, you can customize your CV to fit what the company is looking for. You should also prepare for the interviews by guessing what they are going to ask and prepare the answers accordingly. You should also practice speaking in front of a mirror with a smile and a proper posture. In my case, my Japanese ability was limited, so I prepared answers and practiced a lot so that my answers will come out naturally like a conversation during interviews. After the interviews, you should list down what you were asked and how you answer those questions, and based on the interviewer's expression, you can tell if you did well or not. In my case, if there's any question that I didn't answer well, or if I didn't know how to answer those questions, I will spend time on thinking how to answer them and try to do it better next time. I promise you that if you repeat this process again and again, you will get better and will pass interviews eventually. My last advice is not to be discouraged even when you fail. Overall, I applied for more than 40 companies and actually I stopped counting after 40. I stopped applying after I got 2 offers. What I did was to keep a list of 4 to 5 companies to apply for, and whenever I failed one, I added 1 more. I really believe that if you work hard enough and don't give up, anyone can find a job in Japan. Anyway, that was a brief explanation about the job hunting process in Japan. It's really impossible to include everything in one video, and I was not able to explain everything in detail either. However, I still hope that this video helped you to understand more about the Japanese job hunting system. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me anytime. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up if this video was helpful for you. Also share it with your friends if you think that the information I gave may help them as well. Subscribe and turn on the bell for more information about life and travel in Japan. I hope you will have an awesome April, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye!